Greetings, namaste. My name is Timothy Halloran, and today is Saturday, May 12th. We're talking about the astrology of May 2018. And there is just so much happening. There is so much going on. I usually have a list of points, and it's like today, my list is just full of dates. There's so much shifting and changing going on. And indeed, this can truly seem like a breakneck, fast-paced, overwhelmingly relentless and exasperating period. I mean, we've really been going full bore. There's been a lot of action and activity, and particularly this weekend of the 12th and the 13th, also potential for frustration. And so today, Mercury is square to Mars, and tomorrow, Mercury is passing over Uranus and then moves into Taurus. Mars is squaring Uranus this next week. This combination of Mercury and Uranus, which deals with the nervous system, squaring Mars, can be considerably intense. This can be an overstimulated, erratic nervous system, and I would certainly say this weekend of the 12th and 13th would be an ideal weekend to lay low on the caffeine and the coffee consumption. When Mars is in a first quarter square to Uranus, this is a tremendous amount of physical restlessness. And this restlessness and this amount of physical activity, so much to do, such little time, is likely not something that is totally new for us. Yes, it's really been the last month, month and a half, 2 months of Mars transiting through Capricorn, conjoining Saturn, conjoining Pluto, and now squaring Uranus. We're really busting in a new pace, a new direction, and there's been a lot of energy, there could have been a lot of pressure, there could have been a lot of stress, And so, it's important for us all to be as easy, as flexible, as forgiving, and as much as we can coming into peacefulness of the present moment, even if it's just simply this outgoing breath. We have to find these spaces to breathe, to slow down, and to come into our center in such exasperating, relentless, fast-paced times. And so the blessing is this new moon in Taurus coming up this Tuesday, May 15th. Which is an opportunity, as in any new moon, to sow a seed intention, which can blossom in the forthcoming month. And the new moon does set a pace and tone for the forthcoming month. And this is about Taurus. Taurus is our body. Taurus reels our 5 senses. Taurus really deals with the earth, the principle of abundance, agriculture, money, comfort, physical nurturance, our own comfort needs, our own value systems of what we cherish and love the most, what makes us feel good by raising the level of our own consciousness, by coming in contact with the things, the material, the creature comforts, the food, the sensuality that allows us to feel empowered in our own temple, our body. And so this new moon is about coming into this internal spaciousness during a time when this is easier said than done. As it is no coincidence that basically just several hours after this new moon, Uranus moves into Taurus. And so this is a very powerful and unique new moon situation, really coinciding with Uranus entering into Taurus, And Uranus just poking his head into Taurus at the time of this new moon can be a little disconcerting. We're going to be talking about Uranus and Taurus the whole forthcoming year, but this is going to go on for the years to come. And there can be some anticipation, some foreshadowing of what will be involved in these years to come. And Uranus and Taurus don't exactly get along totally. You know, Aquarius, which is Uranus rules, is square to Taurus. So there can be natural tension here. Taurus is the bull that slow and steady likes to eat grass all day long at his own pace, at his own time, at his own comfort. And Uranus is the pioneering urge, the divine discontent, the restlessness to make changes and create bridges into new dimensional possibilities. So Uranus is the planet of evolution, which oftentimes happens in unexpected changes or shocks or disruptions. Uranus going into Taurus will cause many disruptions to do with our earth, money, agriculture, so on and so forth. So that way we can create progress. That way we can take things into the future. That way we can initiate new dimensional possibilities. So this is not all bad, but again, disconcerting. You know, Uranus is going to be shaking things up. And it's like we are anticipating this. Yes, I would say the title of this new moon is kind of preparing for the unprepared. You know, it's like, oh shit, things are about to change. Global agriculture, global economies, what is going to happen? Nobody knows. That's what Uranus is. Uranus is the future, and Uranus is unknown. This is an important point because Uranus in Aquarius deals with astrology and rules astrology. The invisible energetic connections that interconnects all things is Aquarius. And yet, can we predict the future? Well, no. Maybe we can get good at accurately forecasting the future, the way there may be talented weather forecasters out there, but the future is fundamentally unknown. How do we prepare for a time period where there are probably going to be lots of changes, unexpected shocks? Again, preparing for the unprepared. And this is the gift of this new moon in Taurus, which we'll talk about. It is really an opportunity for us to lay a foundation in a deeper level than just the immediate, easy, simple creature comfort type of way. This is not a time for quick wins or quick fixes. If it seems like there's a quick win or an easy does it, oh, no problem, I'll just invest all of my money in this cryptocurrency and everything's going to be resolved right now. No, I wouldn't take risks these weeks. I wouldn't be gambling. I wouldn't be expecting any quick wins or quick fixes. That is not the nature of this time or where we are in terms of our species' collective evolution. Rather, this new moon is sowing a seed intention for the long term, preparing for the unexpected, the changes, the disturbances. So what do we do then? What do we want to invest in? What will actually guarantee any longevity through these years to come? And this is what places the emphasis and the importance on our system of values. This is Venus, the ruler of Taurus, our system of values. Taurus is what we love and cherish on the inside. Key word for Taurus is treasure chest. What we love, what fills us up, what reminds us of our truth, what makes us feel good, what we want to share with other people, because it is what we love and cherish. You know, Venus is what do you want to bring to school for show and tell? What are you sharing in terms of what you love? But first we have to go inside and discover what this is. And necessary self-reflection can be important in this regard. A good thing is that Jupiter is forming a beautiful trine to Neptune, May 25th, in water signs. Jupiter is in Scorpio, Neptune's in his own sign of Pisces. This is deep, profound, mystical sensitivity. And an opportunity for us to really self-reflect, Jupiter retrograde, go inside and discover our own deeper truth that gives us a sense of purpose and meaning in the world. A reason to wake up in the morning. Why we are here on this planet at this particular day and time, because we get to participate in this process, this dance, this unfolding, this transformation, so on and so forth. We're all needed in the world at this time. There is too much on our plate for any one of us to be able to cop out. And that's what the important restructuring and tuning into our value system is all about. And this value system can ultimately be the transcendental nature that allows us to be stable inwardly, even when the outside is very unstable or unpredictable or threatening. That's high octave Taurus. High octave Taurus is not relying or depending on any external tool or thing, even though tools and things can also be very important right now. For example, we can consider plants or gardening a tool or a thing, but because we can be entirely self-resourceful and self-dependent on gardening and providing our own food, that would be a key thing right now, with this Taurus New Moon and Uranus going into Taurus. Permaculture, agriculture, and how to create self-sustaining food resources outside of government jurisdiction is going to be absolutely key. This would be an example of stability and longevity through this period, despite the unpredictable nature, because we're actually giving those tools and those remedies to a world at the time where we need them. But again, ultimately, this real high octave Taurus value system is the transcendental understanding that giving ourselves to love and goodness and what we really value the most is ultimately what will allow us to move forward in a way where it doesn't, the other superficial things don't matter as much. We don't need as much as we are convinced of in this Western world conditioned day and age. The wise masters oftentimes say, if you can, move yourself to a quiet, simple setting with bare, minimal things, in order to make your life easy, in order to remind yourself what you actually love and what life is really all about. That's the real opportunity of this Taurus new moon, And I'm sorry if it's been exhausting, if it's been exasperating, if it's been relentless, this is challenging, undoubtedly. This is a time to not take risks or gamble, but to really be secure and to plan and to know what's going to guarantee us some longevity, even if it isn't in the immediate awareness, And so this Mars square Uranus in the middle of this month, while Uranus goes into Taurus, it's intense, it's restless, it's spontaneous, it's unpredictable, and there are things going on in the world that are setting off alarm bells in terms of what's changing and, the sense of, there's not necessarily a whole lot to grab onto. Can we really depend on these external authorities, government provisions, and so on and so forth? And, it can be a little alarming and disconcerting. And again, so much to do, such little time, people to take care of, children to feed, bills to pay, so on and so forth. And so, when Mars moves out of Capricorn, 29 degrees square to Uranus, and then moves into Aquarius, this is generally, kind of concluding the last couple months, and there's a new phase that's beginning. But, I honestly got to say, the last video I said, after mid-May, when we get through these transits, hopefully things will start to slow down, and I apologize. I think I need to revise this statement. I don't know if things are really slowing down as much as we are settling in. It may seem like things are slowing down, but we're actually settling into a new dimensional reality, and we're settling into a new pace. And it does take time to adjust into this. But it's like as soon as Mars moves into Aquarius, he's also entering his shadow phase for his approaching retrograde. He's going to station retrograde at 9 degrees and 13 solar arc minutes of Aquarius, conjunct the moon's south node on June 26th, and then retrograde back into Capricorn August 12th, before stationing direct again 28 degrees 37 solar arc minutes of Capricorn. And so Mars, what's been going on the last month? physical activity, our drive, our direction, what we are accomplishing, what our immediate instinctual goals are, what our needs and desires are on a more surface level, primordial way. This is what Mars is dealing with and what Mars is all about. And there is a higher octave to Mars. Mars is the divine masculine. Mars being the divine masculine, protecting the divine feminine, is the outward, leading, protective, defensive knight in shining armor. You know, the high octave of the divine masculine is chivalry. It's the knight, right? It's that protective quality that makes us feel safe because there's a good man at the door protecting us, you know? And again, irrelevant of gender, the divine feminine is the softer, more sensitive, compassionate, feeling, sensing, intuitive, inner, spiritual nature. And so the role of the divine masculine inherent in all things is to protect the divine feminine. That way there is a mutual harmony and balance and exchange between them both. And they work together in beautiful, romantic ways when they are in alignment and in harmony together. Mars, in his retrograde phase, is going to be healing and addressing the divine masculine in many respects, particularly as Chiron just entered Aries. This is an area that we're addressing. We're addressing sexuality, we're addressing gender roles, we're addressing how to use our energy, and we are largely going through a healing period these months to come. We're healing the divine feminine. We're healing the divine masculine. We're healing from sexual trauma. We're healing from cultural, societal trauma. The gender stigmas, expectations, roles, the societal limitations and imprisoning dynamics. Or the feeling of not being able to have a grip on the world because there are so many interferences, because we are not in perfect health and in perfect harmony with nature on this planet. There are these false systems, these synthetic creations that will not last long. And so when they fall apart, or when things fall through, or when realities that aren't real start to disintegrate, this can be disconcerting. And it can create the sense of, where do we go? How do I channel my energy? What am I doing in life? What is important to me? And it's going to be going through a highly inventive rebirthing period these next several months. And again, one of the major themes of Mars on the South Node these coming months can be addressing trauma, which is a sudden, shocking, unexpected shift in dimensions. And interestingly, Uranus deals with both liberation and trauma, and both liberation and trauma are the same underlying function of sudden shifts of dimensions. When we liberate out of something, it's like breaking through. It's like Willy Wonka's great glass elevator, shattering through the roof, entering a new dimension of space. When we left this planet and moved into outer space, and we were able to see the whole world very objectively and take photographs of this globe that is our planet Earth, this is Uranus. It is that perspective. And so we're really looking, as Uranus moves into Taurus, what is going on this planet Earth? How are we making money and producing our food? Are we honoring the principle of abundance? Are we honoring the divine feminine? Uranus on the Taurus-Aries cusp, again, can deal with sexuality. Jupiter all of this year in Scorpio is revealing how basically fucked up our sexuality is in this day and age. It is, I think, more rare in this day and age, easily, to meet a person who has not been sexually traumatized in some way, shape, or form than someone who is totally unscathed, if that makes sense. Because this sexual trauma exists on a subtle level. And because it's so all-pervasive, we don't even recognize it as trauma, you know? For example, I grew up in porn culture, and most boys have their first orgasms to porn, which is inherently traumatic. And my first orgasm was traumatic. And I didn't know that until basically around now, because it's so all-pervasive. This is just how it is. This is just how bodies are. This is just how sexuality is done, you know? And so we're definitely looking at the masculine desire, urge, sexual energy, and how it's connected to trauma, as well as how to direct and use our energy in ever increasingly brilliant and ingenuitive ways in order to resolve some of the crises that we're experiencing on the planet during this time. And so again, I want to rectify that if we're asking the question, when are things going to slow down? When are things going to get easy? When are things going to all of a sudden open up and be clear and resolved? We're fundamentally asking the wrong questions. This is Pluto on his own south node already. This is Saturn coming into a conjunction with Pluto already. This is going on in 2020, but this stuff is happening now. These are incredibly deep changes in terms of our world, in terms of civilization as we know it. Nations, peoples, governments, again, how nations deal with each other, how we trade, how we deal with economy, how we trade our agriculture. It's all about to blow up and shift and change. And so this new moon, preparing for the unprepared. We have to figure out, okay, where do things go from here? What is the new value system? That's this new moon. The whole civilization of the Western world, America #1 bullshit is becoming revealed as bullshit. And these things are going to shift really, really fast, you know. America being #1, this like fabricated story, into America being the world's supervillain. We've got to understand the actual dynamics of what's going on in this world, because the whole old value system of what's important, what success means, how to make our money, and how to invest our money in a way that's actually worthwhile has to go through a giant reboot. It has to. In some way, shape, or form, we cannot keep going at the rate and pace that we have collectively on this planet. So the questions are, what does this world need? Be ahead of the game. Whenever there is shifting, whenever there is crisis, there's always opportunity, you know? And that's not necessarily just exploiting a crisis. It can be used to help others in a crisis. That would be a win-win. Oh, agriculture, money, self-resourcefulness, taking care of our bodies is also an area where we need help. We need medicine. I mean, it's not just this surface level stuff. Look at our culture and how terribly we eat. I live in the United States where children get served a concrete brick of cheese pizza, chocolate milk, and some corn every single day for lunch. And if we don't think that affects our emotional, mental, spiritual, nervous system, everything on the cellular DNA level, we're freaking mad. Of course it affects us on every single dimension and level. This is the future. This is Uranus going into Taurus. Let's pioneer new ways. Let's have hanging gardens. Let's figure out how to bring technology into agriculture to make it easy for the person on themselves to create food for themselves or to share it with the local community, so on and so forth. That's where the opportunities of Uranus and Taurus is. If we're riding that wave, then we can be guaranteed for some great opportunities, major breakthroughs, helping humanity and being able to make the best of a situation in a way that can guarantee more success, more longevity, etc., etc., etc. How do we take care of our bodies? How do we deal with our senses? One of my personal speculations is these next several years of Uranus going through Taurus is that our senses are going to be everywhere and on everything. Cameras and microphones, eyes and ears on everything. And this is tough on Taurus. Again, you know, Uranus restlessness and Taurus stability, not always agreeing. Taurus likes privacy. Well, unfortunately, we're at the age of the end of privacy. This is going to be a major thing coming up. How do we get privacy in this day and age? How do we get a space to retreat or slow down or tune into our body, our senses, and be able to breathe? You know, privacy concerns and how to deal with these things can definitely be a part of this cycle as well. And so, 5 planets changing signs in the next week alone. This weekend, Sunday, May 13th, Mercury moves into Taurus. Unfortunately, we have several days of a mutual reception between Venus and Taurus. So do something, from the 13th to the 19th to try and harness some of this feminine, beautiful, creative, collaborative energy, share a hobby, connect with some friends, At least Mercury moving into Taurus should slow down the nervous stimulation, the nervous system stimulation of this weekend. Wednesday, May 16th, Mars moves into Aquarius. Things stay busy, things stay active, we're still doing, we're still connecting with groups, we're still pioneering how to take things forward and how to invent solutions to resolve the dynamics of this time. Fortunately, Venus moves into Cancer on May 19th, so we're getting some water amidst the air and the fire and the nervous system activity. Venus coming into Cancer is really tuning into our emotional body, tuning into our soul family, finding how we need to feel safe inwardly in our emotional body. And this is some of the dynamic in terms of healing the divine feminine, which is also a theme really going on this next month. Venus squares Chiron on Sunday, May 20th. So again, healing our value system. What do we need to feel safe in our relationships? What do we need to feel safe in ourselves? How do we honor our own emotional well-being in such a way to truly feel recognized and confident? How do we share and connect ourselves with other people in a way that doesn't make us feel shut down or unrecognized? And some of these feelings may be coming up with this Venus-Chiron square, but they are like the trail of breadcrumbs that can lead us into our own story of the past. What are these redundant patterns? And how can we address what we really need and what we really value so to feel heard and safe in our own home, in our own family, and in our own relationships? Venus conjuncts asteroid Pallas Athena Thursday, May 17th. And Pallas Athena is the goddess of wisdom. She is a powerful, brilliant, Lady Justice archetype to do with the healing of the feminine and the patriarchy and the coming into a new age where there is equality and balance and harmony. And Pallas Athena deals with brilliant creative energy. And so this Venus-Pallas Athena conjunction in Gemini can deal with feminine activism, political involvement, discovering new groups, finding creative ways to take things forward progressively, connecting with others where we're doing our healing, where we're doing our sharing. And then Venus moves into Cancer, again May 19th, and Pallas Athena follows into Cancer on May 21st. And so we're continuing to really look into the emotional body, what we need to feel safe where we are, in our home, with our tribe, with our immediate family. And there is this opportunity to figure out, okay, how are we really going to feel safe? How are we really going to figure out the money thing, for example, as Venus is going to oppose Saturn at the end of this month on the 26th, And so it's like, how do we feel like we get that emotional intimacy, we get that sense of soul, family, and tribe, or being nurturing in ourself, This is about being our own mothers for ourselves, Cancer. The medicine of nurturance, one of the most important and missing medicines in this day and age. Why is it so difficult to get this medicine in this day and age? It's a dog-eat-dog world, Sonny. You've got to grow up and put in a 9-to-5 day to earn enough money to survive. Saturn opposite to Venus. How are we going to find a balance of work and emotional nurturance so that way we're inwardly fulfilled and feel outwardly safe? How are we going to share our funds and money with other people? That way there is this mutual balance and support. Venus is opposite to asteroid Vesta on May 22nd. This is figuring out creative solutions to form a bridge between our own need for self-autonomy and our own need for emotional nurturance and sharing and connection with others. And so there's definitely healing on both the end of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, and this can certainly play out in relationships. It plays out on more than just relationships, of course. We all have relationships. We all interact with people. And it's really figuring out how are we going to create this new rhythm, this new pace, where we're not sacrificing to a system that's going to crumble, and we're not feeling lost and helpless, trying to figure things out by ourselves. This Venus-Pallas Athena conjunction in Gemini says we can share. We can bounce ideas off of other people. These brilliant, genius ideas that Uranus is going to want to pioneer this next several years. is now the time for us to start initiating exploring. This new moon, within hours of Uranus entering Taurus, is preparing for the unprepared. All right, it's like we know that we can't invest everything in one basket. Do not put all your eggs in one basket. We need to be careful. Don't take risks. Don't gamble away your money right now. Don't try to find a quick win and then invest all of your energy or time and money into that. No, this is somewhat about experimenting Uranus in order to discover new ways of feeling safer, more self-contained, more self-resourceful, confident, and comfortable within ourselves, Taurus. And so we're majorly exploring our value systems during this month. That way, we can find how to be self-resourceful and get privacy. You know, it's like self-sovereignty and resourcefulness has never looked more good than it is right now. So again, these are the areas to look into. These are the areas where we can pioneer new possibilities. And this is where we can actually create more security for ourselves by adjusting to the changing times rather than trying to death grip onto an old and quickly crumbling age. And it's a good thing that it's crumbling because it will open up new space for new things. But this new space is unknown. This is Uranus. We don't know what this looks like. It's weird. It's never been seen or tasted before. And so this is about exploring this spaciousness, exploring brilliant creative ingenuity, and pioneering these new discoveries by being willing to step into the new and the unknown, and to embrace how we can find new solutions and then put those into work. Let's put these things into practice because yes, these months, I mean, this last month of Mars, Pluto, Saturn, there's been a lot of energy, a lot of momentum. We've been busting into a new pace, a new rhythm, and a new momentum. And again, the last couple months we talked about ending of addictions or old stagnant limiting patterns. There's an opportunity to break through these things. This is important in relationships too, you know, with Juno being square to Saturn on May 16th. That we are not conforming into relationship expectations out of social expectation or duty, you know. Like how it's very common when people get married and have kids and then realize that the marriage is not healthy and then they'll stay together anyways, which is a form of self-sacrifice for their kids, you know. I'm not going to say that everything's black or white, good or bad, you know, every situation is unique and there's always unique solutions. But that type of self-sacrificing for the kids and remaining imprisoned in an unhealthy relationship is an example of what doesn't ultimately work out. Because the temporary discomfort of having to resolve these things creates a better long-term solution and a healthier relationship with the children, so on and so forth. You know, so that's an example here of how to actually get through a temporarily discomfortable situation to create more long-term stability. And so that's what we're talking about here. So we can do relationships new, different, better than ever been known before. We don't know how it's going to be done, but it can be better. We can do sexuality better than it's ever been before. We've only known sexuality in this one particular way. Sexuality is going to open up into ways we've never known was possible before. That pioneering experimental lens of the future is possible. Humanity can be rewritten in a day. We do have all of the resources, the human creativity and ingenuity and more to resolve all of these temporary problems, even the most serious and severe problems. We do have the brilliance, the capacity, the resources to find solutions. And so again, this new moon in Virgo is the high octave value system, the transcendental direction of what we love and what we value that we can hold in our hearts that can take us through any period of temporary excitement or tumultuousness because we are souls. Our bodies are temporary. We go through changes and golden ages and dark ages eternally. It is all a part of the process of life And we don't need for the process of life to disturb us to the point of being relentlessly dragged down into pain and suffering. This transcendental value system of why I'm here on this planet and can make the best of this situation is what will open up these golden gates to the solutions that will connect us to the right people on our own wavelength, participating in the right endeavors that are riding the wave into the future. And this is also what can guarantee our security, our stability, and our peacefulness. So celebrate that peacefulness. Get it wherever you can. Breathe. Slow down. Celebrate isolation when you can. This new moon is conjoint the trans-Pluto object Sedna, which deals a lot with isolation, being separate from everybody else. This is okay. Celebrate what makes you separate, what makes you different, the value systems that you hold that are different from everybody else. Honor the time to yourself. Honor your own way, your own pace of doing things, because these will be the gifts that you can simultaneously contribute to the world without having to sacrifice your own heart or your own values. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and shut off the camera right now. But first, I need to make a couple announcements. Uranus moving into Taurus. It's the bee's knees. It's the news. Get it now, hot off the press. And if you would like to know more about Uranus and Taurus, I've got a hot opportunity for you, because myself and 6 other astrologers that are a part of the new Paradigm Astrology community have just put out, hot off the press, a Uranus course. Uranus and Taurus, the nature of Uranus, you're hearing from 7 astrologers. All you got to do is be a member of the new Paradigm community. So sign up for a membership and you get this course on Uranus, yours, for free. And you get a really great community where you get to post questions, ask about astrology, get videos every single month about what's going on now and different facets of astrology, the archetypes, the planets, so on and so forth. So if you want to learn more astrology, be sure to check out New Paradigm Astrology. There's a lot of great opportunities that we're trying to create through that group. And also, if you are for some reason not tired of me babbling and want to hear more astrology from me, please sign up for the Patreon group. Personally, I want to issue an apology. I really want to invest more time and energy into this Patreon group. The last month has been so insane, I've been a little sad that I haven't been able to do more, but I want to do more. I'm going to be looking into bridging discourse with Patreon so we can have like a forum where people can interact together and post questions. I want to take things in that direction. Monthly Q&A, monthly written horoscope, you know. Funnily enough, the written horoscope I wrote for this month of May is the missing bowl in the room, because it's like we're trying to do Taurus. This is a new moon in Taurus, and yet it's like, where's Taurus? How do we do this? How do we find this stability? How do we slow down? So anyways, if you want to learn more astrology and you want a more personal, intimate connection where you can ask questions with me and receive feedback, please check out that Patreon community. Okay. End rant. Thank you very much. Wishing you all the best, and please take care. Namaste.